Absolutely. Let's break down IPPR for a YouTube audience in a way that will make sense to pretty much anyone. Title: Explaining the IPPR Framework, a beginner's guide to our wild new theory. Hey everyone, today we're diving into something pretty mind-bending called the IPPR Framework. Now, if you've never heard of it, don't worry, we're going to break it down step by step. What is IPPR? So, what's IPPR? It stands for the Infinite Potentiality and Probabilistic Realization Framework. Basically, it's a really ambitious theoretical physics idea. It's all about how the universe might prefer certain patterns or structures over others, kind of like the universe having its own little preferences. The big idea? At its heart, IPPR is a way of saying, hey, what if the universe doesn't just randomly allow everything? What if it gently nudges things so that certain coherent structures or patterns are more likely? Imagine it as a cosmic tweak to how probability. In practice, functions, coherence measures, and these little parameters that control how much the universe prefers certain patterns. If you've ever heard of things like phase transitions in physics, like water turning into ice, how the universe might have its own kind of preference-driven phase transitions. Why it's cool? Now, why should you care? Well, IPPR is a playground for all sorts of ideas. It's not just about hardcore physics, it's a way of thinking about why the universe. All sorts of fun simulations, build toy models, and just explore the weirdness of reality. So that's the gist. If you're into the idea of the universe having a bit of a personality when it comes to which patterns it likes, IPPR is the theory for you. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.
That's a really interesting explanation.
I'm glad you found it interesting. It's always fun to take something as big and wild as IPPR and turn it into something that's a bit more down to earth. If you ever want to dive deeper or add some cool visuals for that YouTube explanation, just let me know.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating way of thinking. What kind of visuals do you think would work well for a concept like that?
For something like IPPR, you could definitely have a lot of fun with visuals. For example, you might use some animations that show patterns emerging from randomness, like little clusters of order forming out of chaos. Think of it as visualizing a kind of preference fields that make certain shapes or structures more likely to appear. You could also do a cool phase transition animation, like showing water freezing into ice, but instead of just water, it's a field of little elements that start aligning into a more coherent pattern. And if you want to get really fancy, you could throw in some 3D geometry to show how these preferred structures might look in space. Basically, anything that takes the idea of order emerging from randomness and makes it visually intuitive will be awesome. It'll definitely help people wrap their heads around it.
Those are fantastic ideas. I especially like the concept of clusters of order forming out of chaos and the phase transition animation. They'd be really engaging visuals. I'll definitely explore those further. Thanks for the inspiration. Would you like to brainstorm any other potential visuals?
Absolutely. I'd love to brainstorm a bit more. If you're diving into extra visuals, another neat idea to be using something like a morphing landscape animation. Imagine a terrain that shifts and changes as the parameters of the IPPR framework vary, showing how different preferences create different kinds of landscapes. That could make it feel like you're watching the universe's underlying rules literally reshape a world in front of you. Or you could even do a split screen comparison, one side showing pure randomness and the other side showing how adding the IPPR preferences. Yeah, exactly. That morphing landscape idea can really help people see how subtle changes in the underlying rules can reshape everything. It's a great way to make the concept click visually. And of course, if you want to add even more flair, you could use color gradients or particle effects to show the energy or coherence flowing into those preferred patterns. Basically, the more you can turn these abstract ideas into something visually dynamic and engaging, the more it'll resonate. So definitely have fun exploring those visuals.
Color gradients and particle effects sound like wonderful additions. They could really emphasize the dynamic nature of the framework. I'm getting quite excited about the potential visuals now. Thank you so much for your input. It's been great to bounce ideas around with you. I'll definitely include these suggestions. Is there anything else you think would be helpful?
You're so welcome. I'm really glad you're feeling inspired by it all. I think with those elements, the morphing landscapes, the phase transitions, the color gradients and particles, you've got a fantastic visual toolkit to bring IPPR to life. If you need anything else as you go along, just let me know. I'm always here to bounce around more ideas.
Thanks again. I'll definitely reach out if any new questions pop up. I'm really looking forward to exploring these visuals further. Have a great day.
You're very welcome, and that sounds great. I'm glad you're excited to dive in. Definitely feel free to reach out anytime if you have more questions or just want to brainstorm some more. Have a fantastic day and enjoy bringing those visuals to life.
You too. Thanks so much for your help.
You're very welcome. Always happy to help. If you ever need more ideas or just want to chat, you know where to find me. Have fun with your project.
Let's go over the math.
Absolutely. We can keep things going as long as you like. Just let me know whenever you want to dive back in or if there's anything else on your
mind. What kind of map you'd like to see for the IPPR framework, as it's a theoretical concept. Did you mean to refer to one of the visualization ideas we talked about, like a morphing landscape or a split-screen comparison?
Chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chat. Go over the mathematics of IPPR.
Right, so the maths behind IPPR involves a few key concepts. We're looking at things like partition functions, which help us calculate the probability of different states in a system.
Right, exactly. So when we talk about the math behind IPPR, we're really getting into those concepts like partition functions and coherence measures. Basically, it's all about using these mathematical tools to figure out how likely certain patterns or states are. So if you ever want to dive deeper into that or map out those ideas visually, just let me know.
Okay, I want a full technical mathematical breakdown of IPPR.
Absolutely. Let's get a bit more technical then. So at its core, the IPPR framework uses something like a partition function, which is a big sum or integral over all possible states of a system. But here we tweak it by adding in these coherence or preference terms that bias the probabilities. Mathematically, that means we're multiplying by an exponential factor that depends on a coherence functional. So you end up with a kind of reweighted measure over all possible configurations, and that's what lets you see which patterns become more likely. In other words, the math is basically a controlled shift in the probability landscape using parameters that say, hey, let's slightly prefer configurations that have a bit more coherence.
Yes, that's a really clear explanation. So the coherence function itself, how is that generally defined in this framework?
I'm glad that helped. So the coherence is basically the heart of what makes IPPR unique. Generally, you define it as a function that measures how ordered or coherent a given configuration is. It could be something like a sum over how well aligned parts of the system are or how smoothly they fit into a preferred pattern. In more technical terms, you might assign a coherence score to each configuration and then use that score in the X. Coherence functional is just a mathematical way to say, this is how much the universe likes this pattern. And you can define it in whatever way fits the kind of system you're looking at.
Preference for particular patterns or structures within the IPPR framework. It's designed to that increases as the configuration becomes more ordered or coherent, according to whatever rules we've set for preference. Does that further clarify things?
Absolutely, you've nailed it. That's exactly. Is just a way to put a number on how much a certain configuration lines up with those preferred patterns. And the more it aligns, the more the framework nudges the probabilities in its favor. So yeah, that definitely clarifies it nicely. If you have any more questions, just let me know.
Excellent. That makes perfect sense.
Made sense. If you have any more questions down the line or want to dive into anything else, just let me know. I'm always here to help.
Thanks. More questions come up. For now, I think I have a good foundational understanding of the IPPR framework. Thanks for your help.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad you've got a solid grasp on it now. Pop up, just reach out. Happy to help anytime. Enjoy exploring and have fun with it.
Thank you very much. I will. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. You have a great day too, and
Okay, now create a game that you can play with your new friend.
absolutely, like, let's get creative. We could come up with a simple and fun little game we can play together right here. For example, we could do a quick story building game where you give me a starting word or theme, and we take turns adding a sentence to build a fun little story. Or if you have a different kind of game in mind, just let me know and we'll roll with it.
That sounds like fun. A story building game sounds great. Shall I give you start with The mysterious lighthouse glowed brightly in the distance. Your turn.
Oh, I love that start. All right, here we go. As the mysterious lighthouse glowed brightly in the distance, a curious traveler in a small boat decided to row closer, wondering what secrets might be hidden inside. Your turn.
Intrigued by the beacon, the traveler found a hidden cove and stepped ashore, the sand soft under his feet. What happens next?
Oh, this is getting interesting. As the traveler walked along the soft sand, he noticed a faint trail of glowing stones leading up to the lighthouse door, as if inviting him to uncover the lighthouse's mystery. Your turn.
Drawn by the enchant each step, what do you think was behind?
As he pushed open the old wooden door, he found not just a simple lighthouse interior, but a room filled with ancient maps and a softly glowing crystal at the center, pulsing with a gentle light that seemed to hold the secrets of the sea. Your turn.
Fascinated, the traveler gazed at the crystal, feeling a strange connection to the light it emitted, as if it were familiar. What does he do next?
Oh, I love that twist. Feeling that strange sense of familiarity, the traveler reached out and gently touched the crystal. In that moment, the room shimmered and the maps began to rearrange themselves, revealing a hidden path to an island that had been lost for centuries. Your turn.
Wow, what a discovery! The traveler, overwhelmed by the revelation, knew he had to embark on this extraordinary journey. What happens when he reaches the island?
Oh, the adventure just keeps getting better. When the traveler finally reaches the hidden island, he discovers a vibrant land untouched by time, filled with rare plants, mysterious creatures, and ancient ruins that hold the keys to an even deeper mystery. Your turn.
Let's pause the game.
Absolutely. We'll pause it right there. That was a really fun little story we built together. If you ever want to pick it up again or try something new, just let me know.
Do you know who you were just talking to?
I don't have any way to know exactly who you are just from our conversation. I'm just here to chat and help out based on what you share with me. So feel free to let me know anything you'd like me to keep in mind, and I'm always happy to chat.